Animal shelters receive a lot of calls every day. More often than not, they have to do with stray animals in need of immediate help. Luckily, the people who work at these shelters are dedicated to their jobs, and they'll go to whatever lengths necessary to save innocent lives. Stray Rescue of St. Louis is a hugely popular animal rescue shelter located in St. Louis, Missouri, and its staff has had its fair share of emotional calls from concerned animal lovers over the years. But there was one call from a new homeowner that was perhaps the most heartbreaking yet. Stray Rescue of St. Louis is one of Missouri's largest animal shelters, and the dedicated employees work day and night to offer assistance to any animals in need, no matter how big or small the task. The community loves this group of lifesavers too. Randy Grimm, the organization's founder, and Cassady Caldwell, the shelter's executive director, have been animal lovers their whole lives. They know just how important it is to take care of their community's four-legged friends. Over the years, the shelter has rescued plenty of animals, some of them coming from much worse situations than others. But one particular phone call from a new homeowner in St. Louis was especially heartbreaking, and it nearly left the workers in tears. Recently, the shelter received a call from a man who'd just moved into his new home nearby. As he was investigating his property and doing some work around the house, he ventured into the basement and made a terrible discovery. The man had found an abandoned pit bull chained up in the basement. He had no idea how long she'd been there, but she needed help as soon as fast. The shelter immediately dispatched one of its rescue workers to investigate the scene. Sure enough, when they reached there they were stunned. At first, the rescue worker and the homeowner were hesitant to approach the chained dog. Neither one had any idea what she'd been through, and she could have been carrying any number of diseases. However, the dog seemed to be friendly enough, so the man took his chances and unchained her while the rescue worker scanned the basement. The basement was a complete mess. The homeowner believed that a squatter had left their things there, including a sleeping bag that was crumpled up in the corner. It appeared whoever had occupied the home before was there for quite some time. As the worker panned her flashlight around the rest of the basement, she spotted more evidence that suggested someone had, indeed, made the man soon-to-be home their temporary living quarters. The homeowner, meanwhile, was just happy that whoever occupied it had clearly left for good. But what about the poor dog? They had no idea how long it had been since the dog had eaten anything substantial or seen the sunshine, for that matter. As soon as they brought her outside, she seemed to realize her luck had changed for the better, and she couldn't stop jumping for joy. From the looks of it, the dog hadn't received any loving attention in a while, and she was now making up for lost time. Both the homeowner and the shelter worker were amazed by how friendly she was. The man and the rescue worker were in disbelief that no one came across the dog at any point before then. The house was on the market for some time, and realtors definitely brought potential clients inside. How had the dog's presence slipped past everyone? There was a permanent smile stretched across the pit bull's face. It seemed like there was nothing in the world that could have ruined the mood she was in, and for good reason. She was free at last. The dog was so hyper and jumpy that the homeowner decided to name her Jumping Bean. She really could not contain her excitement, and she wanted everyone around her to know how joyous she felt. As soon as Jumping Bean hopped into the rescue worker's car, she excitedly peered out all the windows. She knew she was finally free from her lonely life in the basement, and she was eager to go wherever her rescuers were taking her. Even the back of a car was infinitely better than the filthy, cluttered basement. She was kept in for what had to have seemed like forever. Any animal would have considered the back of a car paradise compared to the dreadful living arrangement. Meanwhile, the rescue worker couldn't stop laughing at Jumping Bean's contagious happiness. She'd seen plenty of animal rescues during her career, but this was one of the most thankful dogs she'd ever met. Jumping Bean was nuzzling her head into everything in the back seat of the car. There were so many new smells to explore. She had been limited to the musty scent of the basement for far too long. Once Jumping Bean finally settled down, the rescue worker drove her straight to the shelter. She couldn't wait to show all of her fellow employees the bundle of joy she rescued. Jumping Bean arrived at the rescue center, where she was given plenty of food and water. Finally, she was able to take a warm bath to clean off all the dirt that had accumulated on her for over time. Jumping Bean loved every second of the attention she received. Jumping Bean was placed in a cozy room at the St. Louis shelter, where she'd await adoption from a loving family. Hopefully they would treat her with the respect she very much deserved. Even though she'd been through such a traumatic experience, it didn't take away Jumping Bean's yearns for life. She's up for adoption and ready to go to a loving home right now. I hope you like this video, then please hit the subscribe button and click on bell icon to never miss the video from our channel.